What kind of life could survive beyond Earth? Today, we re-diving into one of the most fascinating questions in modern astrobiology. Can tardigrades, the toughest animals on our planet, survive on Mars? These tiny creatures, often no bigger than a grain of sand, have become legends in the science world for their ability to endure conditions that would kill almost any other living thing in seconds. They've survived the vacuum of space blasts of deadly radiation temperatures near absolute zero and complete dehydration for years at a time. So if any life from Earth could make a home on the red planet, surely it's the tardigrade, right? Before we answer that life-changing question, let us take a close look at what makes these microscopic marvels so special in the first place. Tardigrades, commonly known as water bears or moss piglets, are small segmented animals that live in moist environments like moss lichen and freshwater ponds all over Earth. Under a microscope, they look like tiny chubby bears with 8 stubby legs, each tipped with tiny claws that help them crawl slowly through their wet habitats. Their common name, water bear, comes from their slow lumbering movement and cute bear-like appearance. But don't let their gentle look fool you. These creatures are built for survival, not comfort. What truly sets tardigrades apart is their ability to enter a state called cryptobiosis, a near-death dormant state where they shut down almost all metabolic activity. When their environment dries out, they lose up to 99% of their body water, curl into a tiny barrel-shaped form called a tun, and stop moving, growing, or reproducing. In this state, they can survive for decades without water, resist extreme temperatures from nearly -273 degrees C to over 150 degrees C, and tolerate pressure levels hundreds of times greater than those at Earth's surface. They can even survive doses of radiation that would kill a human hundreds of times. Over some species can handle up to 5,000 gray of gamma radiation, while just 5 gray is fatal to people. This superpower has made them the star of space experiments, giving scientists hope that they might be able to survive beyond our planet. In 2007, the European Space Agency tested this resilience by sending thousands of tardigrades into orbit on the Photon M3 mission, exposing them directly to the vacuum of space, intense solar radiation, and wild temperature swings for 10 full days. Most living things would perish in seconds. In open space, fluids would boil, cells would break apart, and DNA would be shredded by radiation. But when the tardigrades were brought back to Earth and rehydrated, nearly 70% of them woke up from their cryptobiotic state and resumed their normal lives. Some females even laid healthy eggs after returning, proving they could reproduce after surviving one of the harshest environments imaginable. Later, in 2019, an Israeli lunar lander carrying a colony of tardigrades crashed onto the moon, leaving these tiny survivors scattered across the lunar surface. While we don't know if they're still alive today, the fact that they could withstand the crash and the lunar vacuum shows just how tough they really are. With these incredible achievements, it's easy to think they could handle Mars just as easily, but Mars is a far different world than low Earth orbit or our moon, and it brings a unique set of deadly challenges that even tardigrades can't ignore. To understand if tardigrades can live on Mars, we first need to paint a clear picture of what the red planet is really like. Mars is a cold, dry, desolate world with almost no protection from the harsh forces of space. Its atmosphere is incredibly thin, only about 0.6% as dense as Earth's atmosphere, and made up of roughly 95% carbon dioxide, with almost no oxygen to support animal life. The low pressure means any liquid water on the surface would boil away instantly, leaving no stable water for tardigrades to stay active. Temperatures on Mars are brutally extreme, ranging from a mild 35 degrees C at the equator in summer to a bone-chilling -143 degrees C at the poles in winter, with average temperatures hovering around -46 degrees C. But the biggest threat to life on Mars is radiation. Unlike Earth, Mars has no global magnetic field and no thick ozone layer to block harmful cosmic rays and solar radiation. The surface is constantly bombarded by high-energy particles that damage DNA, break apart cells, and kill most living things over time. On top of all that, Mars is covered in a layer of fine, dusty, regolith Martian soil that contains high levels of toxic perchlorate salts and heavy metals, compounds that are poisonous to many Earth organisms. Every part of Mars' environment is designed to challenge life, and we need to see how tardigrades stack up against each of these threats. Let us start with the challenges tardigrades can handle. Thanks to cryptobiosis, they can easily survive Mars' vacuum, extreme temperatures, and short bursts of high radiation. When in their ton state, they don't need oxygen, so the lack of breathable air doesn't affect them. Their cells are protected by special proteins and sugars that preserve DNA and cell structures, even when exposed to the intense radiation on Mars. They can also survive freezing solid for years, so the planet's freezing temperatures won't destroy them. For short periods, days, or even weeks, tardigrades in cryptobiosis could almost certainly survive on the Martian surface. But survival isn't the same as living, growing, or reproducing. For tardigrades to truly live on Mars, they need to exit their dormant state, move, eat, and create new generations, and that's where Mars becomes a deadly trap. The first major roadblock is liquid water. Tardigrades can only stay active when surrounded by a thin film of water, which lets them move, feed on bacteria and algae, and carry out all their biological functions. On Mars, liquid water cannot exist stably on the surface because of the ultra-low pressure. Any water would immediately evaporate or freeze, leaving no way for tardigrades to wake up and be active. Even if they were placed in a protected humid habitat, the second problem quickly emerges: Martian soil toxicity. Recent groundbreaking experiments from Pennsylvania State University, Altoona, tested two species of tardigrades, Ramazotius, a hardy land species, and Hypsibius exemplaris, a common lab species, using two simulated Martian regolith mixtures made with real data from NASA's Curiosity rover. One mixture, MGS1, mimics the global Martian surface, while the other, UCM1, replicates soil from Gale crater. The results were shocking. Within just 2 days in the MGS1 simulant, most Hypsibius tardigrades died, and Ramazotius numbers dropped sharply. The UCM1 simulant was less harmful, but still slowed their activity drastically compared to Earth sand. Microscopic analysis showed mineral particles from the soil clogging their mouthparts, disrupting their ability to eat and breathe. The toxic perchlorates and heavy metals in the simulated soil attacked their cells even in small doses. This was a huge surprise. Scientists expected tardigrades to resist almost anything, but Martian soil turned out to be too much for even these tough creatures. But here's the fascinating twist. When researchers rinsed the toxic MGS1 simulant with pure water before adding the tardigrades, their survival rates and activity bounced back to nearly normal levels. The water washed away the soluble toxic salts, turning deadly soil into a livable environment. This simple fix gives us a glimmer of hope for future Mars missions, but it doesn't solve the bigger problem. Tardigrades still need consistent liquid water and treated soil to survive long-term. Even if we remove the soil toxins, the constant, unrelenting radiation on Mars would slowly damage their DNA over months or years, even in their cryptobiotic state. While they can survive short radiation blasts, long-term exposure would break down their protective proteins and lead to irreversible damage. They also have no food source on Mars, no bacteria, algae, or tiny organisms to eat, so even if they woke up, they would starve quickly. So, putting it all together, what's the final answer? Can tardigrades survive on Mars? The truth is, a mix of yes and no. Tardigrades, in their cryptobiotic ton state, can absolutely survive short-term exposure to Mars' surface vacuum, cold radiation, and all. They could lie dormant in Martian soil or rock crevices for years, waiting for conditions to change. But they cannot live, thrive, or reproduce on Mars naturally. They need liquid water, non-toxic soil, food, and protection from long-term radiation, things Mars cannot provide without human help. These tiny heroes are not invincible, and Mars remains one of the harshest environments in our solar system for complex life. This research matters far beyond just answering a fun science question. Studying tardigrades and their ability to survive extreme conditions teaches us about the limits of life itself, helping us search for alien life on other planets and moons. It also helps us plan for future human missions to Mars, showing us how we might use tough Earth organisms to support colonies, improve soil, and grow food in protected habitats. Tardigrades might not be able to live freely on Mars, but they could still play a vital role in helping humanity reach the Red Planet. They remind us that life is incredibly resilient, but even the toughest creatures have limits, and those limits teach us more about the universe than we could ever learn from perfect, safe environments. The next time you see a patch of moss or a drop of pond water, take a moment to appreciate the tiny, tough water bears living there. They re-small, they re-slow, and they look unassuming, but they carry the secrets of survival that could unlock the future of space exploration. They've conquered Earth's harshest corners, survived the void of space, and taught us that life can persist where we never thought possible. And while Mars might be too much for them right now, they'll keep inspiring us to reach further, explore deeper, and never stop wondering about the amazing possibilities of life beyond our home planet. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel